today on ARSN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. On this episode of the program, we'll be looking at weed management. And to discuss that with us, I know you've been wondering, what do they manage weed? Yes, in Agric, we manage everything in ensuring that our produce, our post-production comes out very, easy, attractive, and good, with all relevant and nutrients. And to discuss this with us this week is an agronomist. He is the HOD of the Department of Soil Science in the University of Abuja. He is no other person than Dr. Idrisu Mohammed. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Okay, sir. First thing first. When we say weed, I know some farmers will be wondering, especially peasant farmers and local farmers, they'll be wondering, did they still study weed? What is weed as regards this whole agricultural process, especially when it comes to crop
production?
Yes.
Okay. So, in a simple definition, and to a layman, without putting any technicalities, weeds are plants growing where they are not wanted. So, for example, when you have a rice farm and you find a maize growing inside it, and you did not deliberately planted the maize, in that wise, it's a weed. So, what we does in terms of weed is that you must have a sole production of a crop in a place. So any intruder, any other plant that comes to that area as at that time, if it is a food crop, as at that time, is a weed. So, and the reason why we put away weeds from our farm is that they are pests. And anything that is a pest, if it attacks a crop or infests a crop, then there is possibility that it will reduce the yield of such crop. So invariably, if you allow weeds to be together with your crop plant, what they do is that they will be competing with it for nutrient. They will be competing for light. They will be competing for space and any other thing that will bring good production for the said crop. So they will allow it to thrive very well. So, and that is why you do everything possible to make sure that they are either managed or eradicated if possible.
Okay, so so far, how has it been with weed management, especially when you have, like you said, the rice farm? How is it possible? Because I know that using rice as an example is a swampy area, and you know that at every point in time, weed grows, especially when they have water, the place is moisturous, and the rest of it. How do you manage this?
Okay, to correct that, rice is not only growing in a swampy area. Yes, we also grow rice in an upland area. There are a lot of varieties that is very suitable for upland areas, and it does very well. But naturally, we will say that rice is a water-loving plant. So, and that is why we said that it is being grown in a swampy area. But with the improvement of technology and advancement in knowledge, breeders have tried as much as possible to see that they bring up varieties that even grow with just little water without necessarily being in a swampy area. So we have that. So what we do is that to minimize weeds in a farm, irrespective of whether it is rice or not, you must make sure that all good agronomic practices are in order. And the first thing we do is that if you want to establish rice, you must make sure that you get your land cleared of other trees. If they are found there, then if you cut the trees, you must make sure that the stumps are removed. If you use things like a bulldozer, then they can do the uprooting at once, and then you get the debris into some corner of the land so that you have a plain land for yourself. Then if that is done, then that is when you will now introduce other machines like tractor that will cultivate the land. So all these things you are doing, you know, they are on top of the soil, and most of these things you are clearing the trees. In the process of doing it, then you are tilling the land. Part of it, some of the weeds will go away. As you are also cultivating, part of it, some of the weeds will go away. Then before the establishment of the rice. Then when you now did the establishment proper, each crop has its level of weed tolerance. So based on this level of weed tolerance, so that is what we monitor to make sure that you weed certain crop at certain interval. So you don't allow the weed to get to economic threshold. When you allow the weeds to get to economic threshold, then which means whatever you planted in that field, even after you later impose good management, weed management practices, you won't be able to break even. So, and that is where research comes in. So research comes in to monitor the different type of variety of rice you have or the different type of crop you have. Then you will now subject them to the period, the interval of periods with which weeding is supposed to be done. If a particular variety demands that weeding is supposed to be done in every 2 weeks, so you try as much as possible and maintain that 2 weeks. If you allow it to be 4 weeks or more than before you now weed, it's possible that you may not lose most of the plants, but at the end of the day, because of this competition that have set in because of the weeds, so there is possibility that the yield will be drastically reduced. So, and then in weed management, we employ different type of management measures. So in some, you can just use a cultural method. So in this cultural method, then you can just go into your farm and then use maybe simple farm tools like hoe or cutlass and get rid of weeds. In some, you may make use of chemicals, such like herbicides. You know, in weed we call it herbicide. It is when it is in pest control we call it a pesticide. So, but in weed we call it a herbicide. So there are a lot of herbicide we use in controlling weeds. So some are selective, some are, and in combination like that. Then aside from the one that are selective, that is if you have done the planting and you want to get rid of the weeds from the farm, when you apply those selective herbicide, it will kill only the weeds or suppress it and then leave the rice or the crop alone. But what we do mostly, if we want to make use of chemical in eliminating weeds in the farm, we normally apply them mostly during the pre-emergency stage. Pre-emergency. That is before you do your planting. So you might have taken note of some of the weed seeds that is on the ground, and maybe the type of weeds you have in that environment. So when you now study them, whether they are broad leaves or they are narrow leaved plants, then you might have studied the biology of their weeds. So that one will now help you in the selection of the type of herbicide you use. So sometimes we use this herbicide in combination. Sometimes we use them single, depending on the nature of the area and the type of crop you plant. So by the time you apply this herbicide, so before you do the planting, then immediately when the planting is done, if you have applied it, some of the seeds we have as a reserve, which we call seed banks in the soil. Some of these chemicals will have entered them and killed them. So they will have the ability to even come up, talk less of even disturbing the rice. And that saves almost like 30 to 40% of the weed incidence on such crop. So by the time the rice now establishes, and then you now have some of this selective herbicide, then what it does is just to suppress the remaining one, and as the leaf covers the land surface, then which means that shade will automatically disallow the weeds from coming up. And at the end of that, all things being equal, you apply good fertilizer and then other things. There is more enough water for your crop. Then at the end of the day, then there should be room for bumper harvest.
Okay, quickly.
And sometimes it is possible that different approaches, combined approach, can also be used. So in that one, we call it integrated pest management. All the crops, as I said earlier, are tolerant to weeds, but they are in categories, in levels. So, and that was why I was saying that you must know the biology of each crop you are planting to know the level of the tolerance of weeds to such a because if you didn't study the level of tolerance and you allow the weed to overstay in the farm, so definitely what you think as tolerance may now become devastating. Are you getting me? So like rice now. If there is wheat inside the rice farm, the highest you can give should not be more than 3 weeks. If it is more than 3 weeks, whatever level of weeding you may want to subject, you may not succeed very well, particularly at the earlier stage. So it's just like a baby. If the child is still small, so the level of his or her tolerance to diseases may not be all that high, it will be low. So the same thing we have in crops. So when you plant any crop newly, depending on the maturity stage, but for the rice, since most of the rice grows are mature, if it is early one, in 90 days, if it is late one, maybe between 4 to 5 months. So you must make sure that the first 1 month, 30 to 40 days, you don't joke with it. Whatever you will do to make sure that after 2 weeks or within 2 weeks, weeding is done, and before it takes that 40 days or the 30 days, the second weeding is done, is very important. Those are the group of herbicides I told you that they are selective. What the scientists are even trying to do now is that they make most of the herbicides even based on the type of crops.
Okay.
So formally what we do is that we may be using the same set of herbicides for almost all the crop. But like rice now, we have specific herbicides to grow rice. We have specific herbicides to grow legumes. Sometimes we call them legume force. So in that wise, whatever type of grasses or wheat that will be nuisance to such type of crop, then the scientists have factored it in such a herbicide in such a way that if it is applied, then definitely there will be good result in eliminating such weeds. But that leads us to say that in the preparation of your land, that is why I told you that you must study the type of weeds you have. Weeds, their biology differs. There are some that may have a stoloniferous type of roots.
Okay.
We call them stolons. Some may be rhizomatic. We call those ones rhizomes.
And which one is the stronger one?
So those two types of weeds I told you, they are nuisance weeds. This is because if you allowed any part of them to get into the soil, whether you like it or not, in as much as the condition is favorable, then they can easily establish. So what we do is that before you cultivate, you must make sure that those type of weeds, they are thoroughly dealt with by using glyphosate, like particularly the systemic. Some people will mix some quantity of those systemic or just non-systemic together with atrazine, so that the combination of these two, sometimes we even combine up to like 3, depending on the nature of the weed, so that by the time you do the planting, their effect will have been so reduced that you may not even sense them.
Okay, will this not
Again.
will this not affect the nutritional value of crops?
Well, certainly with what the world is going on, coming up with now, like in developed nations, they always consider organic crops to inorganic crops. But in developing nation like us, it is when you are able to feed to the best of your satisfaction that you think whether this one is organic and this one is not organic. Truly, any herbicide, as you called it, that they are chemicals, and anything chemical, definitely they must have a deleterious effect to the body. So And that is why the research is always going on to see that if you want to apply any of this herbicide to your farm, you must meet an expert. It is this expert that will now tell you that this is the quantity that you will use in so meter square of land, so that even if there will be that effect, then the effect will be so minimal that it will not have a disadvantage, too much disadvantage to the body of the human being that will consume it. But where you don't have this type of information, or you didn't employ the services of these experts, then definitely, and you just went on blanket application, then definitely you will be eating acid or chemical that will cause different type of disadvantages to the health. The only thing you have to do is that you know the right type of herbicide to use, and you know the dosage to apply. So in as much as that is done, you don't have a problem. Okay. What we are trying to manage is just that the dosage should not be so much to the extent that it will cause a problem to human health. Are you getting me? But the best thing, what sells much in developed nations now, is this organic agriculture, where you don't use even an iota of herbicide or chemical in growing any type of crop, but it's laborious. Are you getting me? And it's time taking, and it requires a lot of efforts, and you may not get good yield compared to when you use these inorganic fertilizers or herbicide, but you will be sure of what you are eating, that to some level they don't have any deleterious effect on the body. So, and those who are aware of that market, you will see that if they are selling maybe a mudu of rice that is grown with chemical, like 1,000 naira per mudu, maybe that could be sold to like maybe 4,000 or 5,000. Yes, because of the effort you put. You didn't apply herbicide as a chemical. You didn't apply fertilizer. The fertilizer you applied are organic, like poultry manure, cow dung, and other, some of these biological fertilizers, liquid fertilizers we are coming with now. You know, those ones, they don't have any real chemical in them at regular interval. And starting from the beginning of the planting, whatever crop you plant, you must do everything possible and make sure you weed within the first 2 weeks, so that one will give you good establishment, and then it will assist you in having good harvest at the end.
Okay, yes, you've heard it, and from the horse's mouth, weeding is part of farming. If you don't weed at the appropriate time, it may affect your yield after all the stress of planting your crop. That's it on the program for this week. I remain Khadija Oluwatoyin, and I'm saying bye for now.